You carry $900 million from selling your freight business past debt reports. A flat tire sends you under the faded brass handrail into the discovery lobby. The quiet receptionist fingers an old brass room key while two daughters whisper near the orchids. Their fear is plain. A parent can be housed here and still feel abandoned. That overheard sentence names the business before any broker reaches you. You buy hot lunches after residents whisper over cold soup tureens. The call light board blinks while fall risk magnets crowd the nurse station. You press the unanswered bell yourself and wait beside overloaded shift notes. 9 minutes pass before a rushed aide reaches the room. Care starts with response time. Aurelia wins the touring daughter with concierge promises and a staged walker. You sit in the family conference room where the tissue box waits in the center. A daughter says her mother's hearing aid vanished twice and nobody called her back. The chairs face you like a jury, and the campus stops looking like real estate. You pledge that elders here will be answered by name. You phone the sellers after families name the broken trust. Miriam Vale stands in the chapel with the memorial book open beside battery candles. You tell Miriam Vale resident moves, staffing, and meal stability come before investor timing. Her finger stays on a dead resident's name while stained glass cuts across the page. She believes families forgive slow repairs before they forgive betrayal. Miriam Vale agrees to stay. The sales counselor brings a sample entrance fee contract into the office with old plaques overhead. You take control for about $80 million and leave enough cash to rebuild care. The waiting list binder is thin because deposits follow trust, not square footage. Your first signature buys an operating wound. Monthly fees survive only when name cards still match real care. You mount a response time dashboard below the glowing call board. Radio handsets crackle while your shoes stay planted through evening rounds. A missed call light now has an owner, a timestamp, and a supervisor's name. Slow answers stop hiding inside shift gossip. You lock the old brass room key away until trust is earned. Miriam Vale meets you again at the piano bench near prayer cards. You offer her the executive director's chair with authority over families, nurses, and bankers. Memorial candles reflect in her glasses while she tests the promise for softness. Families believe a leader who can say no to an owner. Miriam Vale accepts the job. The agency nurse sign-in sheet lies beside locked medication carts. You cross out temp shifts and fund steadier full-time schedules. A caregiver earning around $30,000 to $45,000 a year cannot carry chaos forever. Blister packs wait for hands that know the residents. Agency labor is expensive twice. First in invoices and then in missed habits. You publish family fixes inside the council binder. The mint bowl stays full while deposits lag in the sales office. Aurelia opens a polished suburb campus while neighbors argue traffic at the zoning hearing. You stand before the site plans and hear families praise Aurelia's hospital-facing entrance. Move-in incentives pull the first nervous daughters across town. Aurelia sells certainty before your repairs can speak. Hospital frontage gives the rival first attention. You approve small house memory care behind secured keypad doors. Shadow boxes receive family photos at eye level for residents who lose hallway logic. Your thumb pauses on one worn wedding picture before the crew removes the corridor signage. Memory care earns its premium only when security feels like home. The dated wing becomes a household. The plastic dust barrier flaps beside walkers in the skilled nursing corridor. You rushed the renovation phasing and forced frail residents through noise. Miriam Vale reads the corridor with one look and withdraws support for the rollout. Resident patience becomes the cost your schedule ignored. You relocate dining before residents warn prospects away. Your hand closes around the Hoyer lift strap in the caregiver training lab. The mannequin waits beside dementia simulation goggles while new aides practice safe transfers. Training turns labor from a hiring scramble into a housecraft. A caregiver who knows the lift prevents a fall before insurance hears about a claim. The lab becomes your supply line. Aurelia owns the hospital chatter before your shuttle van leaves. The caregiver training lab becomes the first stop on the new tour. You bring adult children to the medication practice station before any brochure. Competency checklists sit beside practice pills while a nurse explains how errors get caught. Fear loosens when the buyer sees the machine. Deposits rise through proof. You install family updates for medication records before surveyors find patterns. You open locked medication carts to adult-child tours. The old brass room key rides tied to the shuttle bay trip clipboard. You stand beside the wheelchair lift van while Aurelia's hospital site sign catches every passing family. The key feels heavier now because the original campus must win without the best corner. A visible site can buy attention. Only outcomes can keep referrals. You accept skilled nursing risk when the narcotics log cracks. You trace thin Medicaid economics beside the isolation cart. Miriam Vale meets you at the back loading dock by the schedule board. Open shifts stare from the board while laundry carts roll past disposable brief boxes. She refuses a faster rollout that would turn caregivers into strangers. Her protection costs you months. You overrule Miriam Vale at the nurse station with the radio handset in your palm. The coffee cup sits beside unanswered shift gaps while supervisors borrow staff across units. Your expansion order travels faster than caregiver loyalty. Aides stop volunteering for extra tenderness. The keypad log shows the service door exit during shift change. You reach the enclosed dementia garden and touch the cold, locked gate hidden by landscaping. A resident is found, but the missing minutes stay in every daughter's mouth. Regulators read the keypad log like a confession. Trust leaves faster than occupancy. Aurelia fills the paused tours while your salon residents wait under hood dryers. You hear its name from a daughter who came for her mother's haircut. Framed hairstyles face the mirrors while your sales counselor cancels another apartment tour. Referral confidence moves to the operator with no fresh gate story. The family conference room fills around the tissue box under harsh lights. You face daughters who no longer believe any campus brochure. Hospice brochures sit near the water pitcher, and every paper promise sounds smaller than the missing resident. No settlement buys back the first night after fear. You submit the deficiency report to state scrutiny. Miriam Vale stays visible through angry chapel meetings. The corrective action plans enter the boardroom with family summaries on top. You refuse to lead with occupancy charts, while daughters still ask about the gate. Each fix names the failed door, the shift handoff, and the manager responsible. Forgiveness has no purchase order. You accept time beside wind chimes in the empty dementia garden. The locked gate stays beside raised planters as an unresolved verdict. The therapy gym keeps its gate belts ready, but discharge planners hesitate. You added staff, cleans documentation, and tightened rehab goals after the survey. Parallel bars face the whiteboards while hospital case managers send fewer patients. Skilled nursing pays only when clinicians trust the handoff. Aurelia's hospital site advantage threatens your next campus. You reopen tours only after daughters invite other daughters. Recurring fees survive when salon services follow kept promises. The construction trailer smells of dust and new lumber around phasing maps. You open the first $250 million campus without buying a clone operator. Hard hats hang above the old brass room key, which stays on the maps as a warning. The new campus must copy response, staffing, and family proof before copying the lobby. Growth now has a conscience. A chief nursing officer meets you in the skilled nursing corridor by wound care supplies. You hire the CNO because survey risk has outgrown Miriam Vale's personal reach. Sanitizer hangs below seasonal reads while the CNO names medication audits and fall reviews. One beloved executive director cannot protect a multi-campus license. The infection control supply room opens with staffing data beside gloves and bleach wipes. You make the weak spots visible before Aurelia can sell over them. Families read corrective action summaries with nurses in the room, not lawyers. Inspection transparency turns care problems into proof of control. Discharge planners enter the therapy gym with you beside balance boards and public inspection records. Your rehab director points to outcome whiteboards with falls, readmissions, discharges, and inspection fixes. Hospitals send patients only when a bad handoff will not return through their emergency doors. Aurelia loses the referral argument. The sales office fills without move-in discounts, with the resident waitlist crowded beside entrance fee samples. Adult children place deposits after your counselor shows staffing retention, survey fixes, and rehab outcomes in the same room. Outcomes sell longer than incentives. You commission the flagship with architect samples and resident phasing rules. A blank atrium wall waits for proof, not donor vanity. Miriam Vale stops your architecture model before the awards chase. Miriam Vale walks you into the discovery lobby, where faded plaques still crowd the polished brass handrails. Your designer points at the proposed donor wall, and Miriam says rich names would bury the residents who carried the place. The lobby goes quiet. A senior living brand earns trust from families who remember names, meals, falls, and last breaths. You choose the Life Story archive in the activities room beside watercolor paper and video call tablets. Move-in staff record favorite songs, military service, old jobs, food habits, and family rituals with you standing at the table. Resident stories replace the donor wall. The primary care clinic sign goes up in the atrium while you walk the resident route toward lectures. Care now sits beside dining, gardens, and learning instead of hiding behind separate corridor doors. Families pay monthly fees for a continuum they can understand before crisis. The flagship finally works as one campus. Miriam Vale carries the old brass room key to the waiting list book in the atrium. Your hand stays off the key while residents cross toward the clinic, garden, lectures, and dining room. Aurelia executives photograph the routes with their phones lowered near their jackets. Competitors now study the resident flow you built. Their design chief asks your nurse why the memory garden gate no longer feels like a lock. The waiting list book proves occupancy families still trust. Adult children sit beside caregivers in the restored original dining room with the solved complaints binder open. Your managers answer old grievances by naming the fix, the staff owner, and the date families saw the result. Applause begins only after a daughter closes the binder. Families decide forgiveness after months of kept promises, full shifts, cleaner surveys, and the same leaders returning to hard rooms. A caregiver greets a resident by name in the enclosed dementia garden as your shoe stops beside lavender. The resident walks the loop safely, past the hidden gate that once made every family doubt you. You press the gate once, and the alarm calls a caregiver by name. You own a senior living platform worth about $5 billion, built from one tired campus into the standard families and operators study. The empire now includes trusted campuses, trained caregivers, transparent inspections, full wait lists, and a flagship where frailty receives protection. Back in the discovery lobby, the same brass handrail runs beside the glass-cased room key from your first chance stop. Residents, nurses, and adult children pass the bright discovery lobby where decline first caught your eye. The polished brass handrail now leads into a living entrance for the empire.